Happy ReZero Day. We got, as usual, some cut content before we actually watch the video. Shoutouts to Mr. AniNews, the brutal twist. That changes everything for Subaru. Bro is Nubaru now. Bro has forgotten everything. And you know what? It's gonna lead to some prime content, baby. I want some Season 1 crash outs to happen again.
Death was never the worst thing that could possibly happen to Subaru. Dying was always just part of the job for him, so long as he had the ability to keep resetting, then no matter the challenge, him and the Amelia camp would always overcome whatever obstacles they faced.
True.
What happens then if Subaru remembers neither the job nor his ability? Well, I guess you could call that a fate worse than death.
Really? I feel like he's gonna be so happy. Look how happy and innocent and youthful he looks. Remember how happy he was in the beginning of Season 1? How long did that last? How long did the isekai, like, wow, this is a parallel world? It lasted until shit got real at Ramji's place when Elsa pulled up, and then he realized, oh, there's real life consequences. Oh shit. So in today's episode, I guess it just happens like that, huh?
You see, if Subaru truly doesn't remember anything about himself,
look, he's
then
so
the
happy.
whole story of ReZero is just flipped on its head now. Subaru has always been the person driving this whole journey forward, so with that driver now gone, you gotta wonder, where does the car go now?
Who knows?
Before that came some of the most powerful interactions yet, so if you want to see those or learn more about anything else that happened this episode, stick around as we'll cover all of it.
Hell yeah.
Let's get started.
But first,
Episode 73.
no ad.
Coming out of the convenience store, there was a wondrous world.
What a troll
Covering
title.
Chapters 6 and 7 from Volume 22 of the
What a troll title. I love the episode drop though. It's just like, what? Convenience store? Oh shit, this is it all over again!
light novel. With Julius having to spend some time in the green room again, it's interesting to note his injuries weren't as bad as they looked.
Yeah, Raid spared him.
Raid's style was to hold back just enough. Not just anyone was capable of doing that though, especially if all they were wielding were chopsticks. No, the fact Raid could further reinforced why he was a legendary hero. More than ever, Subaru understood how this was the man who worked with the Sage and Holy Dragon to defeat the Witch of Envy.
Okay. I thought that Raid spared Julius because it was like more humiliating for him to be spared. I don't know. I just like saw someone say that. I'm like, is that from the source material?
Now, with Julius confined to the green room for a bit, Subaru figured this was a good time to find an answer to the test above them. That much Ram could tell from the expression on his face, but what she also saw was how anxious he was. As far as she could tell, everyone and everything he was currently worried about was right there in the green room.
The green
Subaru
room.
made sure to tell Ram that wasn't true, since in addition to the obvious candidates of Beatrice and Amelia, Ram was someone he was looking out for too.
Big sister.
On the outside, Ram obviously wasn't receptive to Subaru's feelings, but it'd be silly to think those words didn't actually mean a lot to her.
No, it means that she cares about him the most. Probably not true, but it's just tough love. Tsundere big sister, bro. Wonder how the PV made her look really sad, huh? She was angry, like the man that was there is now gone, and now Ram probably feels somewhat betrayed and left behind, and it's looking really sad.
In any case, if
no more
you were
Barasu.
confused about Subaru's reference to measles, that was him just saying Julius's condition was something everyone experienced once. If not as a child, then unfortunately in a far worse state as an adult. Such was how measles were, and the same could be said for Julius's mental state. Now, Subaru's discussion with Shala would circle back to Raid again, Subaru wanting to know if she knew anything that may help them.
Or a farming.
Whether it be his personality, his habits, his relations, or anything else, at this point, any information was useful information.
Subaru just needs to cross-dress as, you know, I forgot the name for Subaru when he cross-dresses. Natsuki Schwartz or some shit, dude. That's it. That Natsume Schwartz did literally just show a pair of titties and he's gonna be like, ooh, and then he passes. Guarantee you that would work. I bet you that would work on him.
The thing is, had Shala known anything that could even affect Raid in the slightest, then, according to her, she would have taken advantage of it to get back at him for groping her already. The reason she hasn't been able to do that is because, as far as she knew, Raid had no weak points.
Julius and Subaru both needs to cross-dress and get a titty implant and let him grow. Like, the only way to go up is to let him grope us. This is crazy. What kind of fucking test is this?
He did falter with beautiful women and he did scratch his butt while fighting, but neither were traits Subaru could take advantage of. It's not like attractiveness was a guaranteed way of beating him either.
You never know.
Had Amelia struck with the intent to kill, everyone knew Raid never would have left himself open. His reaction obviously changed depending on whether there was an intent to kill him or not. That meant they couldn't let him get serious, enough to prevent his tempers from raising.
I just don't think we're gonna beat him in a fair fight. This is not gonna work. This is the sword saying the first of like the progenitor fucking asked today. Like, what? Why are we trying to fucking fight him? Like, I think we need to think outside the box. And I'm unironically actually proposing Julius and Subaru to dress up like a girl to try to use some sort of fan service to get his guard down, just like what Amelia happened. But like, would Julius be allowed? Would he do that right now? Like, it sounds fun to just theory crap, but like the character he is right now, with him just holding on to the Foremost Knight, you think the Foremost Knight's gonna do that?
It wouldn't hurt to keep him entertained too, so that left making sure whatever standards Raid had were met. If they could do that, then brute force wouldn't be necessary. Not that such an option was even feasible to begin with. But anyway, when it came down to it, this second test was honestly just as sadistic as the first. Where the first was testing knowledge from a different world, this next one tested strength against the world's strongest.
And not only that, the first test at least like only one person had to pass the quiz. It's not like everyone else had to figure out the solution. This is like, bro, everybody has to fight, including even Melee? Like what? Biko has to fight? Are we serious right now?
So both may at first seem like the answer is straightforward, but with a closer look, it's pretty clear the real goal is something completely different. And the group was currently stuck figuring out what that was. Now, just in case it wasn't evident with Shala's face and tone, the way she spoke about taking their time carried with it the weight of who she was.
She just looks like Echidna here, and Elsa a little bit. It's that little perched smile.
She may have kept a smile similar to what she usually wore, but now she was speaking from the heart. Her desire to have them stay carried the weight of the guardian who'd protected the tower for centuries.
She's lonely, you know? 400 years of nothing? She probably wants to get out of the tower, maybe. She just stuck here. It's kind of like Betty in the library, you know? It's like, you have some company around. They don't leave me.
It was in this moment that Subaru realized something crucial, and that was that Shala was never an ally.
Also, she got some big tits. Thank you, Devios, for the prime. Yeah, this is like a realization that, the witches are witches, you know? Like Echidna is like all chill and nice and fan servicey, and then we realize, oh right, you guys are witches.
Sure, she may seem affectionate and she may act friendly, but her words here reminded Subaru her primary role took precedence.
I wish she was more like this, because I don't even know if this is a hot take. I think Shala's fucking annoying. It's gonna piss a lot of people off, but like, this is how I genuinely feel. I appreciate the fan service. I acknowledge she's a sexy character. Yes. But my god, the over-the-top character acting and the antics is so exaggerated, and probably that's the whole point. But it's like, you know, it is so overbearing. I still appreciate her. I find it annoying, but not enough where I'm like, yo, fuck that girl. It's just like, oh, she's doing her things again, okay, and I just kind of ignore.
Friendly, but her words here reminded Subaru her primary role took precedence. That being the case, nothing behind the way she acted truly meant she was an ally to anyone.
She got so much character acting.
If there was one thing this sincere smile did show to Subaru though, it was unfortunately the fact Shala couldn't be trusted. The thing is, caution already should have been being taken due to how strong she was, but because of her friendliness and apparent foolishness, both of those together completely diffused their suspicion towards her.
We're getting our guard down.
So, here she was telling them they could all stay as long as they wanted, casually reminding them they were stuck whether they liked it or not. Time was most definitely of the essence, because with the journey to here a month and the journey back another month, the days they've spent here already could very well turn into yet another month.
How about hyperbolic time chamber? Reverse of that. Like, 1 second here is a week outside. Could you imagine? Like, the passage of time is different in the library, in the watchtower, and like the outside world. By the time we get out, imagine. Nah, that'd be weird. I don't think that would skip a lot of the foundations that's been built. What's the point just jumping to the future?
Month and the journey back another month, the days they've spent here already could very well turn into yet another month. 3 months were quite a long time to spend on this, especially with the royal selection being the deadline for them. You see, when Subaru first arrived, that was still 3 years out.
Pandora right there. You see this thing with the little hat, right? This thing, bro. Look at this thing. Other than the birds, look at this thing, okay?
Was still 3 years.
This thing is that thing is fucking everywhere, straight up. This thing is actually relevant. Look at the design. Remember this design right here.
3 years out, but with a year and change having passed since then, less than 2 years were left for the Amelia camp to ready themselves. That being the case, to spend 3 months of that here was definitely not ideal. Now, the food the group
Imagine we lose the election because we're not even there. Well, I doubt that. That'd be kind of silly.
Brought with them in the carriage, but when it came to their water, that was normally created with magic. It was how they got by before the desert, but now that they were in the desert, they could no longer use mana to create water.
Okay.
Reason being that the miasma in the air would cause that water to be tainted.
Polluted?
We already know miasma absorbed by their gates causes them
You start crashing out if you drink that water?
to go crazy, but for miasma ingested, that had a completely different effect.
Oh?
Beatrice couldn't be sure of what exactly would happen, but if she had to guess, an internalized miasma buildup would likely cause everyone to develop the same mob beast attracting trait that Subaru had.
Huh. Cause why? Cause Subaru has the stench of the witch that gets bigger and bigger the more he, abuses the little rule of like, hey, you try to tell other people, grabs by the balls. Boom, it spikes up. That's it. That's kind of interesting.
How then was the group gonna get their water? Well, the spirit in the green room was kind enough to produce purified water for them.
Oh, how great.
So
there it
water
is.
was no longer gonna be
We're
this
chilling.
issue, but as far as food went, all they had was a month's worth. Don't ask me why they decided to serve so much then, but no one was planning to stay longer than a month anyway.
We were feasting here. We should be careful with the rations.
Now, it was while Amelia was making dinner that Subaru, Beatrice, and Shala would then walk around the tower for a bit. Subaru hated the tower's design, mainly because the layout was confusing and there wasn't a map for it. Beatrice agreed, then called the person who designed it twisted, a clear insult to Shala's master that Shala didn't really appreciate.
Which is Flugel. Subaru hating on himself right now?
The whole
I thought that Echidna also had like a play in building this place though, right? I just feel like this is all... Everything I just feel like is Echidna's creations.
scene wasn't anything particularly important, but these small interactions do build the way everyone perceives each other. So, when Julius joined their dinner, unlike how we saw in the anime, his first words were the acknowledgement of his disrespect towards Amelia. For most, such words would naturally be perceived as chivalrous, but for Ram, she sarcastically called it laudable, suggesting it would have been better to remember his position sooner.
Okay.
She even went so far as to imply her trust with him was broken, a very harsh statement considering what that trust meant to Julius.
Ram!
Even Subaru found it a bit much too, but no one would tell her what she said was unjustified.
No one's here to call out Ram. Ram crashing out. Ram saying the quiet part out loud. That's kind of harsh. You know what else is harsh? Yulia's telling Subaru to fuck off because it's his responsibility in the balcony.
I mean, sure, Ram was clearly more on edge than usual, but
Yeah.
considering what was at stake, it was only natural she wanted to ensure every resource at her disposal was being used to the best of its ability.
Ram is so caught up in the LARP for her sister that she doesn't even remember, but she's so bonded by now. And now Subaru is gone, or at least the memories are gone. She's truly alone. What's Subaru even gonna think about Rem now? I wonder if Ram crashing out is because Subaru forgot obviously everything about Rem and maybe even was disrespectful towards it, acting like it doesn't really matter.
Julius included. Julius fully understood that, so he had no problem taking responsibility here. All the other girls would then voice their satisfaction with his apology too, even Shala using yet another saying that didn't make sense in this world.
No problemo, no espresso. This world has not tasted espresso once. Alright, Julius apologizes and accepts, so as far as I'm concerned, this conversation is over. Same for Betty, Kashira. Just make it up with your efforts going forward, Kashira. No one ended up dying, so that's good enough, isn't it? Mr. Knight doesn't really bother me. Things are tense. Passive aggression.
With his apology too, even Shala using yet another saying that didn't make sense in this world. Dinner would then proceed exactly
Just eating like a fucking savage.
as we saw, the only difference being Subaru taking note
She
of
eats a
Ram's
lot.
ability to cook. It's not like she
Also, dude, we should not be giving her food. Dude. She should go eat the fucking mobbies downstairs. What the hell? Like that's what she's been living off of. These supplies are being wasted on Shala. I mean, her eating is nice, I guess, right? But like at the same time, I don't think this is a good use of the food.
It's being Subaru taking note of Ram's ability to cook. It's not like she couldn't before.
Steamed
It's
potatoes.
Just that she actively chose not to.
Steamed
It
potatoes.
didn't even matter whether Ram was part of her life or not, because Ram's neglect for housework was absolute. It was after dinner that Subaru would have liked to have an all-night meeting figuring out what the best way to approach things were, but considering their opponent and his seeming lack of intent to kill them, it was better to be in peak condition rather than be slightly more organized. If anything, they could just run the test trial and error style, then learn more with every attempt through conversations with Raid.
Okay.
Whatever the plan may be, that was something for the Subaru of tomorrow to figure out.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Subaru would
Maybe he'll figure it out. We just needed a reset in our mind, and we literally had a reset in our mind, and maybe Subaru will now go off. What's gonna do? Pull off the Raid and do I'm Natsuki Subaru and do the pose? What's good? I just don't see this working out, man.
get the privilege of spending the night in the green room, Julius conceding believing Rem was the one waiting for him. The truth, however, was the opposite, since it wasn't Rem waiting for the time when they could talk without interruptions. No, the one yearning for it most was Subaru. That was the full extent of his thoughts during his moment here.
Damn, and now it's gone.
Fast forward to later on in the night, and the reason Subaru decided to chase the bird instead of waking anyone up is because there was this sinking feeling that something bad was gonna happen. Subaru couldn't be sure of what, but his instincts were telling him not to lose sight of the bird.
Okay.
When it came to finding the secret
Instincts. Just bird inside. Sure, okay, alright.
passage after, its hidden entrance was very similar to the one that the witch cultists had once used.
Oh?
It's for that reason he wasn't entirely surprised, but
Oh, this is episode 15, right? This is when Subaru comes out of the hideout, right? Bet to the Goose's hideout, right over there. Hold up. Going frame by frame. That was a quick little frame. Right over here. Yeah, and then the walk to the mansion. God damn, after playing Twister with Rem.
it's for that reason he wasn't entirely surprised, but he was nervous about what awaited him on the other side of it. Well, aside from the strangeness of it being Aridina, what was even more weird were the birds accompanying her.
Birds!
First off, none of the birds were the same, so where the anime made it seem like they were all doves,
Yeah.
in actuality, they were a
Intentional.
flock made up of completely different species and colors.
Yeah, Kidnap mentioned that as well. But the fact that the anime is doing this and the light novel's also doing this shit with the imagery, like they're trying to be like, nah, let's be more like intense. Like let's have more intention with like how we're trying to like hint that this is Pandora.
There was no unifying principle that made it seem like these birds even belonged here. Next was the way these birds acted, since you'd think they'd make noise or at least rustle their wings a bit,
Nothing.
but not a single bird moved or even chirped.
Dude. Shit like this is why. Did you know that people think like pigeons are like government spies? In the real world. I'm not talking about ReZero world. There's like an actual conspiracy theory. And I think it stems from the fact that like, the logic is, have you ever seen a baby pigeon? That's the logic. And people are like, I don't think so. And they're like, see? There's no baby day. The government is making these pigeons and they are a cyborg and they're watching you. This is how they have surveillance state over you. That's what they think.
They were these stationary objects whose sole purpose seemed to be observation.
Yeah.
All they appeared to do was stare at them.
Creepy.
Such peculiarity led Subaru to be on the defensive.
I raised the pigeon. They are real. Yeah, okay. Okay, Mr. Government. Nah, we got a fucking Fed in here, bro, trying to fucking make excuses because we're getting close to the truth.
Since if any of his past deaths had taught him anything, it would be that being careless in situations like these was life-threatening. It's because of this that Aridina would make it clear she wasn't a threat, only bearing malice towards the two examiners.
Okay.
That's when Subaru would fill her in on who Raid was, followed by his intent to speak openly to her. Instantly, Aridina would flip like a switch, switching her personality in a way that made her seem like a completely different person.
As in, drop the accent. The Kararagi accent. The LARP queen, bro. Better LARP than Nanase from Classroom of the Elite today? When she was channeling in the spirit of her dead boyfriend? This is more like Kushida, not like Nanase. Nanase was a bit weak with that. Kushida believed it more. Yeah, Kushida and Anastasia, and a good comparison.
She would then ask if Subaru was gonna join her by the balcony, but considering the name of who it was he was talking to now, Subaru decided it was best to refrain from that. This hesitation was the one thing Echidna found the most annoying, since even if Echidna was her creator, to constantly be compared to a person she didn't even know felt awful. It was something Subaru agreed he'd try to work on, but at the end of the day, that was just how deep of a scar Echidna had left on him.
You're a creation of a witch. Yeah, your feelings hurt too, but like, I honestly, I better be safe than sorry.
It also didn't help that Echidna's behavior and mannerisms were all exactly like how Echidna's were. Subaru would then ask how Echidna could just casually touch these birds, suggesting they might just swarm her and peck her to death. Echidna could only chalk up such a fate.
That would be a crazy death. I would love to see a run where Subaru could jump by just like a flock of birds and dies. They're all just pecking at him, and you can see from his eye getting gouged that one peck at a time.
To his imagination, but Subaru doubled down by saying he had a bad run-in with some bunnies.
Yeah, the bunnies.
It was ever since that he'd always been a bit nervous when surrounded by animals. A fair response considering what it was that had happened to him. Next came Echidna's probing into Subaru's past, a topic Subaru had never had to navigate before. With Anastasia having retraced his steps perfectly, Subaru wasn't sure what to say happened before that.
We're from the east. How east? Far east. We're pretty east right now. I don't think it gets any more east in the desert right now. Beyond that is the Great Waterfall, right? Priscilla just kind of went with it. And whoever, you know, it just, and Priscilla just kind of goes with the whole, what did she say? I think she's talked about something of like, just like, hey, everyone's got mysteries and you're from the Great Waterfall. It's like other worlders. Like she kind of believes in that, but Anastasia's like poking.
It was strange to see his origins and his identity as an unknown person were what was holding him back now. Before, Anastasia just assumed Subaru was this unknown rookie knight blessed with the accomplishment of multiple great feats, but after the battle in Pristella and now this journey to the tower, her and Echidna's impressions of him were starting to change. In truth, she wanted nothing more than for Subaru to just be open with her, but no matter how trustworthy or sincere Echidna made herself out to be, Subaru's past with Echidna made it so he could never trust her.
That face.
The more Echidna's behavior matched that of the Witch of Greed, the harder it became for Subaru to believe anything she said. To him, there was what could only be described as the residual stench of the witch.
The residual stench of the witch. Stinky armpit sweat that she tried to fucking make us drink.
Trust was a two-way street though, and with Subaru being unwilling to give his, Echidna justifiably couldn't give hers in exchange.
Okay, we're at stalemate.
Thus the reason both were on the fence about each other. In the end, they would just chalk their meeting up to coincidence, then proceed to discuss both.
I don't think coincidences like this happen, man. This is deliberate.
Where they were and the new company they had. The balcony they figured was meant for Shala to snipe people, while the birds Echidna believed were part of a puzzle. They were definitely alive since their bodies felt warm, but with the way they didn't react to anything, that made Echidna feel like they were operating with a purpose.
They're city pigeons, man. Have you ever seen city pigeons? They don't give a fuck about humans. They will literally like pull up to you and like, hey, give me some snacks. Like they've been conditioned to be not scared of humans.
Ideally, she would have liked to take one apart and see what was inside, but for her to kill one, that would require magic.
She gonna spam like 17 G-Volds, but like against Raid, which is so useless. But right here, just come on. You can't even spare one for a bird? Torture? Kind of fucked up, but I do want to see what's inside.
So instead, she would just ask Subaru to strangle one, a request he was surprisingly open to.
Pandora watching, we're like, what the fuck? Imagine like her POV. Pandora's like, yo, whoa, what the, whoa!
Hunting had actually become an extensive part of Subaru's training, so killing birds and rabbits were no longer difficult for him.
Okay.
Killing for food was far different from killing for an experiment though, so
survival.
if he was to kill the bird, it'd be so that they can eat it after. At least one. That way they could manage their food situation.
Yeah, we could. We got a lot of birds here.
Now,
Pandora giving us meat supply.
Was preceded by a very important event because if you didn't notice, this was a bird that came from behind Echidna and Subaru.
Yes, another one led him here. Pandora specifically wanted this to happen, I think. But why? What's the goal? There's no way she could control the conversation, but she probably knew that if she put these pieces here, that the conversation's outcome would be in her favor. What's the favor? Create distance between Subaru and Julius? Is she a BL hater? She doesn't ship these two together? She enjoys what does she do? She wants to understand. Pandora is what? Like an autistic lolly that wants to understand. She does shit to kind of see, and she just doesn't seem like a human, right? There's no like humanity. It's very just like absent and like a machine, like Aina Koji looking at fucking humans and be like, oh, I see. So this is how people behave. Maybe she wants to see doomed yaoi, man.
Very important event, because if you didn't notice, this was a bird that came from behind Aridina and Subaru. That meant it was another...
I don't think she follows the gospel. I think she's the one that gives the gospel updates. I don't think there's anything above Pandora in the corporate structure of the witch cults. I think Pandora is the CEO. Maybe I'm wrong, but right now, the gospel just gets patch updates out of nowhere. I mean, Pandora, I think, could easily do that. I think it's her, man. She's the one writing the gospel.
Bird from inside the tower, one we can only assume was leading Julius here. If true, it changes the context of this meeting from coincidence to something more. Almost like someone wanted all three of them to meet here.
Yeah, the birds.
That being the case, for three separate birds to lead three separate people all to the same meeting spot, I don't think that was a coincidence at all.
Too sus.
Then, as if the birds' jobs were done, all would fly off at the sound of Julius asking his question.
That was such a cinematic way to leave too. It reminded me of episode 15 when the doves, the birds, were flying when Rem was popping off with their speeds to Subaru.
This was a difficult question to answer since the secrets shared by Subaru and Aridina involved everything from artificial spirits and the Witch of Greed all the way to Gluttony's authority and other things. It wasn't a conversation one could just walk into the way Julius just did. Now, not noticing his master wasn't even his master naturally went to hurt Julius, but from Subaru's perspective, Julius was set to fail from the beginning. His life was already crumbling right in front of him, so how could someone with so much going on expect to be the proper first knight he was supposed to be?
Stop with it. Has he hit rock bottom just yet? I think we're pretty close to rock bottom. Now that Subaru has forgotten him too, he's pretty much there. Right? Once you hit rock bottom, it can only go up. Can we get any lower though?
Like, if being a knight meant not being allowed to hurt, then to Subaru, being a knight was a curse on Julius. When it came to Aridina saying
it is a curse. It holds him back.
Though her resolve to die was certainly there, in truth, she didn't want to die. Her dying wasn't even guaranteed to bring Anastasia back, but...
I mean... by our experiment, right? Talk about experiment to Subaru cutting up a bird. You know, we had an experiment with Ram cutting up Anastasia's body, right? She came back for a bit.
Whether Julius actually believed her was a different story. I mean, this could, after all, just be an evil spirit saying whatever was necessary to stay in Anna's body.
It's a fairy, bro! Evil spirit!
A large part of her desire to stay alive, though, stemmed from the incomplete relationship her and Anastasia shared together. It was one a proper spirit mage could never understand. So, she didn't expect Julius or Subaru to get what it was she was saying, but she did hope that they would at least respect it. Julius's own acknowledgement of it stemmed from a desperate attachment to one of the few things he had left, the fealty he pledged to the person he valued most. With all else lost and that...
Man, we've come a long way, huh? Obviously, it's probably not fair to compare this single scene here, but just look at the overall art style and compositing compared to what we're seeing recently. I mean, there's also many great moments even in season 1. I think that a lot of people argue that like season 1 animation style, art style, they prefer that. I'd have to go back. I'd have to go back and really compare season 1 to 2 to 3. People probably think that season 2 is the worst, right? During that time, COVID was really limiting, you know, the workflow and everything. A lot of people have a lot of nostalgia for season 1, just like myself, and I think season 1 really looks nice, for sure, for sure. This scene, again, right, no, just nitpicking, just like a random scene, it's not fair, but Julius kind of looking chopped here.
Else lost and that fealty now denied, though, Julius couldn't even...
The, scarf mention. Didn't she always have a scarf, though? Where is that scarf? Isn't it? Is it just a mantle? What am I looking at, honestly? I've always focused on her dress. Where's the scarf in this frame? This is just, it's just a mantle, right? It's this mantle, right? This thing, this thing. So if you look at here, ain't this the same shit? Isn't this the mantle? Isn't this it? Ain't this the fox shit?
Person he valued most. With all else lost and
like she's always had it as a kid, right? It was literally said last episode. Like since she was a kid, like as an orphan kid, she's always had it. But like, who gave it to her? Where did she find a scarf? What? Like, just a kid that just pulled up with a scarf and said, "Hey kid, you want this scarf?" That doesn't make. What? Who?
That fealty now denied, though, Julius couldn't even properly feign calmness anymore. In fact, it was astonishing he didn't show any emotion beyond that.
Break time doesn't explain a person that gave her the scarf. Break time explains that she's had the scarf as a child.
The way he still managed to keep composed despite everything, well, that was just a testament to the way he lived his life. He fully understood arguing would get them nowhere. So, instead, he would use Zeridina as motivation, allowing her to speak in her true voice as a reminder of who it was he was missing.
Drop the accent.
Zeridina couldn't help but be saddened by those words, but if they were what motivated Julius, then she couldn't say anything.
Okay.
In the end, Julius's actions could be reduced to one single sentence. To Subaru, it was the sentiment of even if he was forgotten, he would never forget.
Ooh.
That was the feeling Subaru was certain kept Julius going forward.
Is it having him go forward though? Because I feel like he's stagnating, if not regressing. Cool line. Even if I'm forgotten by everyone else, I will never forget the memories that I've had with them, and as the foremost knight, I will always live up to my duty. That's his problem. How do we get rid of that? Raid is straight up telling him, bro, drop this shit. You need to be more savage. Be more you. Who are you deep inside other than the foremost knight? He doesn't know.
Who was certain kept Julius going forward. Now, Julius's own final words acted like a thorn to Subaru, enhancing his guilt instead of relieving it. Subaru had hoped Julius would express his grievances, but rather than vent his anger like how he thought he would have, instead, Julius just made Subaru feel worse. That's why he would walk around the tower looking all dejected, an emotion Ram would pick up instantly.
Remember, and that is also the last encounter Ulysses is gonna have with Subaru. Now, who knows if the memories comes back in the future, but as far as we know in the anime right now, that's it. You just broke up. That's your last memory. It's like having an argument with somebody and then they just die, and that's your last fucking thing you ever had with them. Damn. Another thing to just make Julius feel worse. He's just, are we at rock bottom yet? What more can we do?
Aside from that, the reason she had attempted to go up to Raid was to try her hand at a sneak attack. At first, she thought she might be able to assassinate him while he was sleeping, but after getting halfway up, she realized it was impossible.
Ram was gonna assassinate?
Halfway up the stairs was enough for her to sense that Raid's threat level made Garf's look like nothing.
Oh, yo, why Garfield getting fucking stray bullets here? Now Ram just needs to stay in the green room more and let the fucking horn heal. Like, I doubt that the spirit auto heal room could heal the actual horn back, but full horn Ram could solo the white whale, and I'm sure Raid could too, but full horn Ram versus Raid, I wanna see it.
It was before leaving that Ram would make a surprisingly crude comment, after which is when we get the twist.
And there it is. That's the last Ram's conversations. I mean, conversations with Ram is always just fucking toxic, so it's not that big of a deal, I guess, that this is their last encounter. Do as you please. If you hold back of your lack of sleep, I'll twist it off. My penis?
Comment, after which is when we get the twist. First, it's important to know what it is Subaru was trying to do prior. His mind was enveloped with the thought of how to handle Raid, the key to which revolved around making him satisfied without letting him get serious. It was a concept that was most definitely vague, but at the very least, it was a surefire way to ascend the tower without anyone dying. It was then that Subaru believed all they had to do was firm up that plan, a thought which led to a eureka moment.
Just go read his book, bro's dead. Maybe we can learn more about him. What did we see in there? Did we see something of 400 years ago we were never supposed to see? Did it break some sort of pact or an oath that we had with Satala? Who knows, right? Does Satala erase the memories? Is there some return by death mechanic that we broke by seeing something of the past that we're not supposed to? was Gluttony somehow up there and just, ate our memories like that? There's so many different possibilities. Gluttony, I think, would make more sense considering, it's just like, well, we're just honestly still on the get to Gluttony, right? You defeat the Gluttonies, and we got a new Gluttony showed up last season, Rui. So it just kind of makes. And remember, a shapeshifter. So like, someone among us could be Gluttony right now. You never know. And the more I think about it, what if it's Meili? Why? I don't know. Because Meili just kind of just on the side right now doing nothing. She's just chilling, right? I don't think it has to be here, but like, there could be someone among us. So we'll just see what's going on.
We don't know what it is he thought or what those thoughts relate to, but what he did say was, if this works well. Four words likely pertaining to a gamble of sorts.
And it was the worst gambit of her fucking lives.
Subaru couldn't say whether his idea was sure to work or not, but if it did, he said it had the potential to move things forward greatly.
Oh.
So it was that exciting thought which led him to run off deeper into the tower, the only things remaining of him his footsteps. Now, it'll probably be a while before we find out what it is Subaru was trying to do, so if I was to make a personal guess as someone who only reads the novel up to where we are in the anime, I think Subaru went to talk with Raid.
Yeah. But I just thought about just like reading Raid's book, because it just like makes more sense that the Library of the Dead is such a big component to this, and in the visuals, right? It just looks like Subaru. There's a lot of connection with like the books and that.
That talk then led to Subaru succeeding, and whatever awaited him at the floor above was what rendered Subaru in the state we see now. At least I think these were the stairs leading up to Raid, but whether I'm right or wrong, don't tell me anything. It's just what I think is most plausible. In any case, in the novel, what happened next was Subaru's awakening.
Awakening. Regression. He looks so happy, man. He's looking so proud. He's doing this. He's doing the pose. I missed that pose.
The beginning of Subaru's new adventure. The anime depicts it pretty much line for line, but what ultimately gave away the fact he was isekai'd was Patrash. Now, I really wish I could tell you more, but that's exactly where Volume 22 ends. There is, however, an interlude about
Minerva?
the Witch of Wrath, but that could still be included next episode.
What's Amelia's mom doing here? What the fuck?
It is worth noting.
If you guys don't know about the Amelia mom thing, go look at season 2 again and look at the end of the trials when Minerva pulls up. Very odd interaction. Very interesting. I think there's a lot of different witch cult translations of web novel cut content too that suggested it, but if there is a witch that is Amelia's mom, this could be it right here.
For an interlude about the Witch of Wrath, but that could still be included next episode. It is worth noting the official ReZero YouTube channel uploaded a brand new music video for Redo, the very first opening from Season 1.
Cool.
More importantly than that, though, is the way the music video shows the events of the anime in reverse.
Oh.
We go backwards from Season 4 to Season 1.
That's troll. Just to celebrate, hey, we're starting from zero.
Almost as if to imply we're starting all over again.
Yeah, starting from zero!
The very last scene being Subaru coming out of the convenience store. So, with the name of the episode being what it is, I imagine Subaru's memories are wiped all the way back to that.
Yeah.
How long that lasts I couldn't tell you, but the implications of such a fate flip the story right on its head. Everything the group was working towards now just comes to a standstill. So I'm super excited to see where the story goes next.
Me too.
That we'll talk about next week, so if you want to see that, be sure to subscribe, and if you like this one, then leave a like and comment.
Of course I will. Please go check out Mr. AniNews' channel. Go support him. Go give it a like. And check out his other content if you enjoy cut content for a lot of isekai shows like that. I think that Subaru, I don't know, it just feels like when he first got here, he was alone, clueless of the world. And he eventually struggled and made it here, right? So just because his memories got reset doesn't mean he can't do it again. In fact, shouldn't he be able to do it faster, better? Because rather than everyone doubting and having people be suspicious of him, we have a support network. These people are believers. He has some sort of safety net and a group of people that can guide him in the right way. So I don't know, the more I think about it, shouldn't this be not as hard as the first time? But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how things really turn out. Anyways, see you in the actual reaction. Goodbye.